Hi, I'd like to welcome Cassie Bouverie, who's the founder of Private House Stays, to Business Spotlight today. Welcome, Cassie.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on, and what a nice background you've got there. I guess it gives a nod to some of the work you do. Would you like to tell us a bit about what your business is?
Yes, absolutely. So I worked in the online industry in its infancy in London, and then I fast forward a few years and I married in 2000 and ended up running a bed and breakfast in Scotland Street, which was made famous by Alexander McCall Smith, who you'll probably all have heard of. And whilst we were running the B&B, we were bringing up our children, and we had lots and lots of people to stay from all over the world, which was fabulous. And we won an award, and it was great. But we had lots of people constantly ringing us, asking us to whether we would accept guests, but they want to take 25% of our earnings, which I really resented, because it was really, really hard work running a B&B and bringing up a family. So we went about building our own booking software, and that was launched in 2010. The original business was called Bouverie Bed and Breakfast Association, but then we moved that on to Private House Stays, which I'm not certain is the right name now, but anyhow, that's been the name of our business for 10 years. In 2012, Visit Scotland approached us as one of the former online providers. Visit Scotland had their own online booking service called Web in a Box, and the European Union did not like the fact that they were making money out of this, so they had to go out and find all the providers, and we were one of them. So we integrated our calendar in 2012, and we've just grown slowly. And then the pandemic came along, and that was a nightmare, but it did make me realize that what we'd done worked, because all my owners who were using our software were able to just log on to their dashboard and refuse all the bookings. And when that COVID happened, there was no money that changed hands. So all we do is we tokenize the card. I never really believed in having to pay up front for accommodation until you get there, because cash flow, especially now with the cost of living crisis, cash flow is difficult. So the software is really simple. Sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, it's good. It's good. So I guess it's akin to the big boys that then came into the space are the likes of Booking.com, Airbnb. So you were, almost the front runner before these people existed. Is that fair?
Oh, well, I was, but I mean, my motivation's not really around making money. It's more, obviously I need to pay bills, but it's more about empowering owners and teaching owners that they do not need these big boys to fill their rooms. So we've got a client in Oban who spent £6,000 with Booking.com, and she shouldn't be spending that, but she doesn't know how. And because I've got that online background, what I want to do is help educate businesses that they do not need to rely, and that's via LinkedIn and social media. I've given her my social media girl, and there's so many parts to the technology world. It can be quite frightening as an owner, and they don't really necessarily understand about their websites and how the websites are found. And I've got quite a lot of background in all of that. And, I've got lots of people I work with who are trusted. And won't rip you off, basically.
So just so I've got it right, so you effectively surround yourself with people who can advise on how to do it better, so they're more discoverable and they're not reliant on the likes of Booking.com. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and can refer people to, I work with a super chap in Crieff who builds websites. It's very reasonable. They're all built on WordPress. They're built properly. You get so many sharks who say, oh, I'll build your website and it'll cost you £2,000. You don't need to spend £2,000 on a website.
So what kind of things do you advise them on socials then? What should they be doing?
Well, my advice really is to find somebody young who's good at it to do it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've all got different skills in different places. And, you know, if you try and do it all yourself, you just can't run your business. So go to the people who are good at it. And, you know, just have it, you know, if you're a small hotel, you could have a budget of £50 a month and give that business to a youngster who's learned it or worked along with the universities. I work with a lot of the universities. They can actually give projects to students who are studying in, you know, tourism and hospitality. And I've got the fact Interface, I don't know whether you're familiar with Interface, has been amazing. They've put me in touch with lots of people students who've actually worked for us. So there's lots of help out there if you know where to look.
And what else do you commonly see that owners hold on to that they should perhaps delegate?
That's a very good question. Oh, I mean, there's so many parts to running any type of business, but I would be saying that search engine optimization is so important. So to be investing a little bit in that, a little bit in social media, so you're visible.
Yeah.
I would say a very key. My chap does Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Yeah. And the other thing, which I think is very, very important, is that if you have a website, you need to continue to add to it, because you have a website that's static and doesn't show any updates, then it's not really going to get the love of Google. Google wants new data. So whether they write a blog about their area, and I think the other key thing to pass to businesses is to collaborate. Collaboration is very important. So, you know, whether that be with your local restaurant, getting a backlink from the local restaurant, you know, just working together. We all need to be working together to help each other, really.
Yeah, and just, you know, so we're clear on jargon, a backlink is where it takes me to the restaurant's website. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess there's so much out there that you've learned that you can share with people that they maybe don't know already.
Oh, yeah.
How do you most commonly get new users on your platform?
Well, quite a few people approach us, but what we're going to slightly change the direction, and we're going to really look at growing our audience by putting a lot of content onto the site, blog content. And then we've got over 3,000 followers on Instagram. And my daughter told me about 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, she said, "Mummy, you've got to get yourself on Instagram." I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what to do." But anyhow, I found somebody to help me with it who's been absolutely amazing. So it's just keeping, you know,
consistent.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, all my clients know my mobile number, and I work with a fantastic team in Glasgow called We Are Everyone, who've got the website. And yeah, I've got, you know, nice people I work with, and, you know, it's about that trust, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I like when you say, you know, go to people that are specialists in their chosen area, because I think a lot of business owners spend a lot of time and angst and worry trying to do something that's not in their skill set, whereas somebody else could do it in an instant. So
yeah, well, it's taken me a long time to learn that, but, you know, I'm in my mid-50s, well, you know, getting closer to 60, but anyhow, you know, we never stop learning. And, you know, I mean, Booking.com and Airbnb, I just think, oh my God, it's so much money you're paying out. And they but I've got a 9.8 star. And I'm like, yeah, but you know.
Is that putting food on the table?
Yeah, but they don't know. People don't know. And they're very draconian as well. So if you give them your availability and then you make a mistake, you have to honor that booking, or you have to put that booking somewhere else if you can't take them. Whereas with our booking software, it's, you know, you're in control. And, you know, I don't want people saying who I can and I can't have, you know.
Yeah.
One client in 5 whose house was struck by lightning. It was several years ago, and she was just like, she said, Cassie, can you help? And I went straight on, and I just pressed the reject booking. I'm so sorry, a house has been struck by lightning.
Yeah.
We can't accommodate you. No money had changed hands, and we were able to explain what had happened without having to worry about putting those 25 bookings into other places.
I didn't realise that that's what you had to do. So the onus is on the owner to find alternative accommodation. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I guess the thing people will say though is, the amount of traffic booking.com gets is maybe what's important, and it's easier to discover them. Is that?
Well, yes and no, but I mean, Scotland is an incredible country, and you shouldn't necessarily. I've got a real tickle in my throat. Can I just pause a second?
Yeah, sure.
I need to get some water. So I think booking, if you were a new business starting out, you had no guests, they would be perfect to start you off. But I think what a lot of clients don't do is they'll take the booking will come.
Yeah.
And then they won't take their personal email address, and they won't build up an email marketing list. And that's another thing, that email marketing is very, very powerful. You forget we're all so busy, I don't remember what I did 6 months ago, but if you send a nice little, hello, fancy,
remember me.
Remember me, and they'll tell their friends, and that's where you drive the direct bookings. And that's where you save the money.
And I guess they've got an opportunity when the guests come to stay for the first, second time to really wow them at that stage, and then to do something to get them wanting to come back, be it, I don't know, do loyalty schemes work, or what's the best you've seen at getting people back into?
I mean, I mean, everybody likes a bargain, 3 nights for the price of 2. I mean, we're all human after all, and I mean, Tesco's, I mean, they go 3 for the, I mean, we all like a little bargain, don't we?
A little something.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've got a real love of Scotland as well, Cassie. Is that fair?
Oh, I love Scotland. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the.
I first went to Scotland with my boyfriend when I was 18, and we did a big tour. And my most favourite place is Plockton. Have you been to Plockton?
I haven't, but it's up in the west coast, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it near the Carlacash. I mean, it's magical. But since then, I've been to Shetland. I've been to. I read the Peter May books. I don't know whether you've read them.
I've not read them, no.
Oh, they're fantastic. It was a trilogy.
Yeah.
And once I'd read the trilogy, it's called the Black House, the Chessman, and I forget the other one. And I thought, I've got to go to the Outer Hebrides. So because he wrote, I mean, they were brilliant books. And so and we've written blogs about it. So I flew from Glasgow to the Isle of Barra, landed on the beach, and then made my way all the way up to Isle of Lewis. But driving from the Isle of Lewis down to the Isle of Harris is, well, I thought I'd arrived in heaven. It was so beautiful. And then last year I went to Shetland, and there's so much to explore.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that lockdown gave me, was the chance to travel in my home country. And so I went to Skye and Lewis and Harris for the first time, actually.
Oh, so you know what I mean.
Oh, and the beaches are just ridiculous.
I know.
You just think you're somewhere else.
Yeah, it's when the sun shines. And I mean, I went off season to all these places. I went to Shetland in March last year. And I loved it. I mean, I loved the islands, and I've got so many more to explore, but it's, little by little.
Where's next on your hit list then, Cassie?
Oh, I don't know. There's so many places. I don't know.
Need to get working on our short list.
I kind of want to do more on the west. I love Ardnamurchan and Mora and Arisaig, and but it's huge. It's a big country.
There's a lot to get around.
Yeah.
So where are you taking the business next then? What's your plans for?
So we're looking to, we're looking to expand, but slowly. I've been very involved with Travel Tech for Scotland. So anyone who's listening to this who works in the technology, travel, tourism side should definitely sign up to Travel Tech for Scotland. And this afternoon, I'm going to a leaving party of Leslie Judge, who has, there are two of them who work for Travel Tech for Scotland, and the leaving party's in St James's Centre. And I've never actually met Leslie face to face. So that'll be really nice. And yeah, so running a business is not easy. And I just want to do it slowly, just keep going, but gently. And because I did take on 4 people throughout the pandemic, through the government kickstart scheme and the local councils here in Scotland. But then I thought, well, I'm trying to conquer the world. Don't be stupid, just got to. So it's difficult, but we're not going away, put it that way.
And so an ideal new user for you would be what type of business, what kind of size?
A small hotel, under 10 bedrooms. I like looking after the small businesses, and we do B&Bs, hotels, inns. We've got a fantastic client in Aberlour, whiskey country. It's called the Mash Tun, and they do wonderful. I mean, obviously I've been up there. I've been to Granton-on-Spey, and they're an inn. So I'm quite interested in actually taking on properties where you can get food as well, because it's about that experience.
And do you have to go and try them all out, Cassie?
I don't have to, but I try and visit as many as I can, because that's the icing on the cake.
Totally is.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's been fascinating finding out about your business journey so far. If you were to give somebody else starting out one piece of advice about having your own business, what would it be?
My advice would be, don't try and do it all yourself. So go to we've all got skills, so make sure that you go. And also one other piece of advice is Business Gateway has been amazing for me. There's so many free webinars, and networking's but there's so many things.
Yeah, good advice. And I guess the quickest way to contact you is that QR code on the corner of your screen. Is that correct?
Yes, or private house stay, Cassie at Private House Stays is my email address, or you can contact me on LinkedIn as well.
It sounds like you've got lots of experience and advice to share with people, so hope they take you up on it. Thanks very much for being on today, Cassie.
Thank you so much. Okay.